All right, everybody, we're about to get started. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the person that brought this all together, Angela. Yay!
Yay!
Yeah, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Thank you for coming to my birthday. I'm so happy for everybody who has come here. We're in for a great night. There's going to be birthday stories. There's going to be comedy. There's going to be a lot of laughs. We've got a wonderful lineup of incredibly talented performers. But before we get started with the show, I wanted to bring some attention as to what the show is about tonight. So as you could tell from the advertisements and from what you are here for, this is a fundraiser show. So all of the proceeds were by donation only, and they go to benefit Lost Community Services, which is a suicide prevention association.
Well, it also varies based on the line.
So with Lost,
I can't remember what the split was, but
all of the
sometimes
information,
-120 or -110.
somebody's very loud in the background. Can they be muted? But anyways, Lost Community Services, I do apologize for that. It was distracting me. Lost Community Services is a suicide bereavement group for those who have lost a loved one to the tragic event of suicide. They go throughout communities throughout the United States, providing education materials, bereavement services, counseling, and even prevention education to individuals. So it is a wonderful group. All of your money is going to help so many people who need it. And I benefited from this group greatly last year because I have lost a loved one to suicide. So thank you all for your support, and I'm so incredibly grateful. So without further ado, I want to get this show started. Is everybody ready?
Woohoo!
Awesome. All right, so I would like to bring the attention to our host for the evening. He is a veteran of the 82nd Airborne, and he will also be a featured comic for the Coney Island Comedy Festival in September. Without further ado, I would like to bring to the virtual stage our host, James Mack.
Woo!
Yay! Go me! 1 second. Yay! Awesome. So this is what happens when you're not paying attention. That's right. I'm putting it on gallery view. Hey, if possible, if you don't have a lot of background noise and if possible, you can turn on your video, unmute yourself, so that way all the artists tonight can hear your loving affection for our art. Yay! I had to control myself before I said "our fart." It's I understand. The teenage boy in me started to come out, and I was like, "No, it's not happening, y'all." So, hopefully, everybody's 2021 is going pretty well. I mean, clap if you think it's going well, or you could do the clap emoji if you don't want to turn on your mics. It's fine. Mine's going really well. I started the year off. I got a little puppy. He's around here somewhere terrorizing something. And some things around my house had to change because of him. Because beforehand, at like 2 o'clock in the morning, if I heard a noise, I was like, oh man, like I need to get up. I need to go check that out and make sure everything's okay. But y'all, I grew up Catholic. We believe in demons. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, when he's barking at the closet, I don't know whether to grab a gun or a Bible now. So, and let's face it, y'all, I'm originally from Texas. You know, both the gun and Bible are right next to the bed. Yeah. Now the other thing that kind of weird with that is, you know, they're like, oh, like, you know, a dog is man's best friend, and my dog acts just like my best friend because both of them have peed on my carpet. They both get nervous when I reach for a leash, but only one of them has tried to hump my leg, y'all, and that's why he's not my best friend anymore. No, and when I told my mom that I was getting a dog, she's like, "Oh, James, you're gonna be a doggy daddy." I'm like, "No, let's stop that right there." Y'all, I'm from Texas. I work in New York City most of the time. People already think I have sex with animals. We don't need this. So,
Oh my God.
Yeah, God usually has nothing to do with this, Aaron, but thank you. So- but some people take the pet parent thing just way, way too far. Like I saw a bumper sticker on the back of a car and it said, "I'm a proud grand dog parent." No, no. You say that, I think you need to put a picture of your kid on the back of your car so we know why nobody will procreate with them. Yep. And thank you to that kid for stepping on my punchline. That was so nice of him. No, it's been fun though because like I grew up with pets my whole life.
Please.
So my mom ran a humane society for 40 years. She recently retired from doing that. And don't clap. She's not here. I don't care. I can't pass along your congratulations. So every time I tell her, I'm like, they clap when I say that. She's like, and but she's just as cynical as I am, y'all. But here's the thing about it is now she adopts these older dogs, and we had to talk with my mom. We were like, Mom, that's going to be really hard on you emotionally, like adopting all these senior dogs and everything. And she's like, well, but James, I'm getting up in age and I want to see how it's going to be right before I pass. And we had to explain to her, Mom, you're not going to find a dog that's been smoking for 40 years. So it just doesn't work that way, y'all. Now a little bit actually about me is I am originally from Texas. I grew up Irish Catholic, and now that I live up north, I notice there's a lot of Roman Catholics. And I have to explain to them what the difference between Irish Catholic and Roman Catholic is we use whiskey for communion. So, yeah. It makes it so much more fun whenever you see your priest at the bar and he has a knife on him. So, yeah. And just to prove to you that we really were Irish Catholic, I have 8 brothers and sisters and 24 nieces and nephews, y'all. Yeah, yeah, because apparently there's not a Gaelic word for contraception or hobbies. Yeah. All right, y'all. So I got you warmed up. So now we can keep moving on. But please, by all means, if you can, even if you can't unmute yourself, at least turn your camera on so we can see your smiling faces, or at least your face, whether it's smiling or not. Yay! Thank you, Dylan. That's awesome. So I don't know what bet you were placing earlier when you had yourself unmuted, but I hope you win. So.
That's my brother for you, and he looks nothing like me.
It's been a good Vegas trip. It's been a lot of fun. So.
Yeah.
Of course,
I used to be a cop in Vegas, so I know. So we can talk about that later. And before y'all say anything, you're like, "Oh, you were a cop." Like, don't worry, I didn't harm any black people. There's not black people in Nevada, so you're fine. That's my favorite joke because if you go and look at it, it's true. But we are gonna get this party rolling, y'all. So the first performer that we have coming up is a recurring storyteller as well as the producer of Story Club in Columbus, Ohio, Eva Starnes. Yay! Where'd you go? Yay. Go ahead.
I was born in October of 1959 in Michigan to a hunting family on opening day of pheasant season. To those of you who might not realize what that means, it's a big deal. It's everything. It's opening day. I'm told my father missed my birth, but he did come to the hospital after it was too dark to hunt, so. Every year when I was little, I would eagerly look forward to my birthday. It's my birthday. It's opening day. And My older sister and younger brother were born in January and February. And every New Year, I would watch them celebrate their birthdays, and then I would wait for the long countdown to October, and it was a lifetime. And finally, October would come. It's my birthday. It's opening day. And my brother and sister would always cry, "It's not fair. She always goes first." Now, I tried to explain to them that January and February actually come first, and I'd been waiting a long, long time, but they never believed me. And so it went that way year after year. It's my birthday. Opening day. It's not fair. She always gets to go first. Carrying on the legacy, my husband pretty much never remembered my birthday, except there was that one day he was home early for him. It was 8 p.m. And I thought, I'm going to make us a fabulous dinner. So as I'm leaving, I noticed he's on the phone with work because it had been 15 minutes since he'd left. And I made the universal spousal sign for I'm going to the store. Do you want anything? And he told the person he was talking to, he said, hang on. And he balanced the phone between his jaw and his shoulder. And he reached down into his pocket and pulled out his money clip. And peeling the bills off, he grabbed one in the middle, a $1 bill. And he held it out to me and said, here, buy yourself a card.
Oh,
Oh no.
Oh.
So the following year, I decided to make myself a cake. And after, frosting it and decorating it, I was about to put the final touch in and wrote happy birthday to Eva. Would I say that to myself? Seems odd. Are third person birthday cakes an actual thing? So I wrote happy birthday to me. And I liked it. And it was delicious. Now, when I was 30, my son was born. And he was born in April, exactly 6 months after my own birthday. And I like that thought. And every year on my birthday, I would wish him a happy half birthday. And when he got old enough, he would say the same thing to me on his own birthday. And it was this really cool thing that we got to share, I thought. When he was 7, he came home from school and he threw his little backpack on the floor. And he looked at me with a quivering chin. And he said, thanks a lot, Mom. I said, dude, what's up? He said, a kid at school told me it was his mom's birthday. So I wished him a happy half birthday. And he looked at me like I was nuts. Like, oh, honey, that's not true for everybody. That's just special, just for us. But I didn't hear happy half birthday for a long time after that. On my 31st birthday, my brother called me, but not to wish me a happy birthday. He called to tease me about turning 30. And I'm like, hey, thanks, but that was last year. And he told me I was wrong. Now, it's legend in my family that we are all 2 years apart. And he told me, he said, our sister was born in 58, you were born in 60, and I was born in 62. And I said, actually, I was born in 1959. It's 1960. How can you not know your own birthday? So you know, I explained to him, our sister was born in January of 58, and I was born in October of 59. So no, you were born in 1960. We're all 2 years apart. And then I made the mistake of trying again. If you start on the calendar on January of 1958, you go all the way around the calendar, January of 1959, and then you count the months it takes to get to October. But he wasn't buying it. He told me to go look at my birth certificate, and then he hung up on me. And later that day, my sister called to tease me about being 30. So we went through the same exercise again, but she didn't buy it either. Now, the next day, my brother called me back to tell me he had called our Aunt Catherine, verified that I was born in 1950. Now, Aunt Catherine is my father's who's my father's eldest sibling and the matriarch of the family, and she kept impeccable family records, or so I thought. So I called her up to correct the misinformation, and Aunt Catherine said, no, you were born in 1960. You're all 2 years apart. Everyone knows this. And I thought, seriously? To this day, my entire family thinks I'm wrong about my birthday. No, it was my 40th birthday, and my son had the flu. He had the flu for a few days, but he was feeling better. And I thought maybe I can rescue this somehow, some way. So I called my husband at work and I said, please, please, please come home and sit with him so that I can go to my kickboxing class. I mean, it seemed like the least I could do for my 40th birthday. And much to my surprise, he said, sure. So I got on my kickboxing clothes and I waited. He got home at midnight. But hey, our divorce was final the following August. So a decade went by, and my birthday in October was just a day like any other day. But when I turned 50, I saw that Wicked was in town, and I thought, I'm going to take myself to the theater on my actual birthday, and I'm going to have a really good time. So I called the box office excitedly. Now, this birthday was on a Monday, and they informed me that Monday is the only day. And then what have I got to do here? And then I realized I don't need a special occasion. I don't need anybody to remember. I could have my own birthday, and I wouldn't tell anybody, and it would last a month. So began the game. During the month of October, no matter where I go, it's a celebration for my birthday. Now, no one knows but me, and it's wonderful. Everything counts. Nothing's excluded. It's marvelous. All the traffic lights are green. What a fabulous birthday present. I go to the grocery store and they have samples, snacks for my birthday. And as I wheel my cart past the bakery, admiring all the cakes, I think, oh, look at all the cakes for my birthday. And one year during my birthday, I was at one of my birthday parties. Well, it was a fundraiser to everyone else, but you know. So a birthday party for me. And I found myself talking to a nice fellow, and I thought, gosh, he looks like Hickenlooper, who was the governor of Colorado, where I lived at the time.
Eva,
Yes.
you're over time by like 4 minutes.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. Bye.
Yeah, Eva.
Artists, please make sure you're watching the chat for your time. So that's how I'm going to notify you. But give it up for Eva. That was great.
Woo!
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So she was talking about, like, you know, having to write out birthday cards when you're married. Obviously, she's never been a single stand-up comic. That's normal for us. So all right, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up your next performer. So your next performer is an artist, comedian, and poet based in South Jersey. He is also the host and producer of Pity Parties Comedy Club, Mike Hoff. Yay!
Greetings, Earthlings. They call me Mike Hoff. I hope everyone is ready for the 2021 fake alien invasion. Back in January, I saw an article titled COVID Bill Starts 180-Day Countdown to Disclose UFO Information. It was probably fake news, but if you do the math, Independence Day. So I couldn't help but start gold blooming. 180 days. That's 180 rotations. 180 rotations is 180-degree spin. 180-degree spin, Shaun White. Shaun White was a snowboarder in the Extreme Olympics, and he's a ginger. Gingers are extremely rare, like 3% of the population. 3% of the population minus the 2% of sanity I lose each year to schizophrenia is 1%. The 1% ruling have all the money. Elon Musk is a member of the 1%, and he's building spaceships. Elon Musk and the 1% are building spaceships for a 2021 fake alien invasion. And much like UFOs, I never know if that lands. If you're skeptical, I get it. I am too. I did believe in aliens until the government said they were real. If you can't tell, I am schizophrenic. And I was pretty bummed when I found out. But I had an epiphany. I'm the lucky one. Y'all are stuck in this crazy reality. I get to alternate timelines. Half the time I spend where Berenstain Bears is still spelled E-I-N. And there, Trump was never president. And America was winning until he started the Tiger Blood Army. Back to our reality. All right, let's find a birthday girl. Where is she at? Where are you at, Ange? Can I find you in here? There you are. Happy birthday to Ange. I have a question. I got a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a store, let's say Five Below?
Love Five Below.
I lost you, so I'm just going to keep talking and hope you can hear me.
Okay.
And has anyone ever asked you if you speak Spanish?
Never had that happen to me.
Okay. Will, hello there, Will. It's good to see you.
Hey, dude.
I like your background.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. I want to know, have you ever frequented a Five Below and have a 50-year-old Spanish woman ask you if you speak Spanish?
Can't say that I have.
All right. Let's see. Let's keep this going. James, you are from Texas. There's a decent Spanish population down there. Have you ever been in a store and someone has asked you if you can translate Espanol?
See.
See, all right. then it's not this anorexic Mark Anthony look.
No.
You see, I was confused because I was walking down the beach of Ocean City, New Jersey, or the boardwalk, and all of a sudden a van full of Latinos drives by and they're like, "Hey, Enrique Iglesias, what are you doing there?" So there's people that for their entire lives will think they have just encountered a Latin man. I was actually a manager down in Ocean City at a retail jewelry store. I got to ask stupid questions all the time. What's the price? Signs right in front of you. And you always have the customers fishing for compliments. Does this look good? Does this make my eyes pop? If I buy both, can I get a discount? But the real question that grinded my gears, where's the bathroom? Stop telling me you have to pee. If you ask me in a hurry, I'm going to tell you the wrong directions just to see what happens. So next time you're in a store, you're gonna be looking around like, oh, where's the bathroom? I kind of gotta go. Don't ask anyone. You find that sign and you find a bathroom for yourself. I'm actually making a drastic move this week. I'm going from New Jersey down to no mask land, Florida. I don't think the South have been this divided since Chick-fil-A and Popeyes. And personally, I don't care if you're black, white, trans, straight, gay. We're all just living in a simulation anyway. Living in a simulation anyway. Living in a simulation anyway. Thank you very much, everybody. I've been Mike Hoff.
Woo!
Yay. Keep it going for Mike, so, who obviously swallowed the red pill. It's fine. There we go. All right, y'all. Like I said, we're going to try and keep this rolling as much as possible. So your next comedian that's coming up is a fairly new comic and is a graduate of the stand-up program at Helium Comedy Club in Philadelphia, Greyson Clemens. Yay!
Yep. Hey. Hey, thank you. Yeah, I'm getting tired of this pandemic. I don't know about you, but I got a newborn at home with 2 kids remote learning. I used to think that the school drop-off was the worst part of the day. But God, was I wrong. Once they were out of the car, it was somebody else's problem. Now, if anything happens when they're home, it's my fault. And I can't sue myself. Every day, I wander around my house like I'm Jack Nicholson in The Shining. Only instead of a bartender, all I have is Mickey Mouse to talk to. It's like, what'll it be, pal? Hey, Harry the dog that bit me, Mick. One Pluto coming up. I'm afraid to check what's in my upstairs bathroom. And I always used to roll my eyes at my parents when they said stuff like, in our day, we had to walk to school barefoot in the snow. Now I sound just like them. When my kids are complaining about going to class 9 feet from where they just slept, I tell them they don't know how good they have it. In my day, when I went to school, I had to put on pants. But these days, you're not just a parent anymore. You know, you're a teacher. You're the geek squad. If anything breaks in the house, everybody's looking at me. And don't get me wrong, I look like I should be great with computers, but I could barely turn the damn thing on. I got the body of a computer nerd and the brain of a meathead. Like the worst of both worlds. To make matters worse, now I'm starting to worry that my wife is going to outsource my job. She's going to look to find someone that could turn something on. You also have to be a janitor. You can't just leave things laying around. The whole class is going to see it. We're all living in a giant fishbowl. So every night I got to scrub my house like a serial killer. You know, you got to take things like old underwear, booze bottles, handcuffs. At night, a drunken phone with my wife is going to get me on a watch list. Thanksgiving was different this year. They told us, hey, limit your numbers. Bring your own food. That made cleanup a breeze, but really sucked if you planned on having your entire family over to make a huge meal to poison them. Hey, there's always next year, right? But families get older. You know, you don't want granny expiring before your arsenic. Even going to the grocery stores like living through the apocalypse now. Everyone's fighting over toilet paper, shelves are bare, and people take you out if they think you're infected. I wouldn't make it through the real apocalypse. I can't make it through ShopRite. Everyone pictures himself like Will Smith and I Am Legend. Not me. I quit when I found out that every single day I'd have to run on a treadmill. If that's what it takes to be the last man on earth, I'm going to let the virus win. But even before this pandemic, I sucked at the gym. You know? I only kept a membership for a smoothie bar. Fresh fruit smoothie, smothered in frozen yogurt. It's a good way to help me meet my goal. Of course, I realized my only goal was drinking a milkshake and walking around in sweatpants. Turns out, if you do that at the gym, nobody notices. Hey, you do it at Walmart, nobody notices. You do it at Target, they send you back over to Walmart. My wife thinks I'm wasting money on a smoothie membership, but I disagree. It gives me less money to spend at the McDonald's drive-thru. When I go there, I order way too much. And then I'm always worried that the kid at the window is going to know it's all for me. So what I do is I order a second drink. Yeah, it's embarrassing being judged by a line of workers. You got to put it in the whole order without getting winded. Then you got to pull up to not one, but two windows while they read it back to you. Were you the 2 Big Macs, 2 cheeseburgers, 2 French fries, 20-piece chicken nugget, and 2 Diet Coke? Yeah, that was me. Well, there's no way that's ready. Go wait in one of those fat guy spots over there. There's never enough room to back in. You know, you got to nose in and know they're all laughing at you. You guys want $15 an hour? I'm with you. In return, how about a little discretion? When they finally bring me all my food, I drive off, I eat it all, and I drink both drinks. Turns out a family box is way too big for just one drink. Thank you very much. I've been Greyson. Happy birthday, Angela.
Yay. Great job. And now you see, if you take the class at Helium, you can be just like Greyson. He'll even give you the jacket. So, no, great job, man. All right.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so the next performer you have coming up is a comedian and a host of Story Club in Columbus, Ohio, Harmony Cox.
Woo!
Where'd they go? Go ahead.
In the summer of 2018, 2 important things happened. The first is I got divorced and ended up living alone by myself for the first time in over a decade. The second is the Golden State serial killer was apprehended. And don't worry, those things are not related. So if you don't know about the Golden State serial killer, he was a killer who was active on the West Coast through the 70s and the 80s and a little into the 90s. But I guess being a serial killer is like being a football player and you just do it like until your knees give out. I don't know. But he was a cop, which is very cool. And he knew a lot about how to get into places without leaving evidence. And his favorite people to kill were women who lived alone in apartment buildings. And once I learned about all of this, I could no longer live alone in my apartment building. Because before I heard about this, whenever I heard like a squeaky noise in my apartment, I was just like, cool, the apartment's settling, no big deal. after this, I would hear a squeaky noise and go, oh, somebody's trying to break into my apartment to kill me undetected. So I could no longer live alone. But I also really didn't want a roommate, you know, like 10 years of being in charge of somebody else's dirty socks made me really fond of my me time. So I decided to get a pet. And unfortunately, because of my lease, the only pet I could get was a cat. Now, I don't hate cats. I didn't start out hating cats. I just, when I think of the job description of what I expect a pet to do, dogs are a little more suited to it, you know? Like a dog is a little engine. Like dogs are full of like unconditional love. They're so happy that you're there. And cats are just weird little loners who will kill you if you hold still for too long. So when I think of man's best friend, I go in a dog direction. But, you know, I didn't want to be closed off to the experience of getting a cat. So I went to one of those cat cafes and I got a little like cup of treats and I just hung out to see if there were any cats I like vibed with, I guess. I was there for a few minutes and then all of a sudden I heard this little noise at my feet, this little meow. I looked down and there's this little baby tabby with big green eyes and a little metronome of a tail just going.
Aw.
Yeah, and I thought she was the cutest thing in the world. So I threw her some treats and she flopped on her back and we were having a good time, you know. And then another cat saw what was happening and decided to try to get in on the fun. So she came over trying to get some treats. My cat was not having that at all. Like immediately just got up and started headbutting that other cat. Like it was brutal. And I watched her do that to 5 other cats over the course of the hour that I was there. Now, I know given what I said earlier, it's weird that I adopted my cat because she's an asshole. But in my defense, I thought it was really funny. Also, I mean, I'm adopting this animal because I'm worried about serial killers. So, like, I want to get a cat that can scrap. Like, every dog that shows up, I'll be fine. She'll take care of it. So I went to the little counter and did all the paperwork to adopt her. I learned her name was Bandit, and the volunteer there kept talking about how lucky I was to be taking her home. She kept saying like, oh, you know, Bandit is so popular. She's so cute. So many people come in because they see her on Instagram. She's been here for a month, and it's just so lucky you're the one taking her home. And now that I have some practical cat experience, there are some follow-up questions that I would have asked to that information. Such as, if this cat is so popular and beloved, why has it been a whole month and I'm the one taking her home? Or why does every other cat in here have like a cute little sparkly flowery collar and my cat's collar has a huge skull and crossbones on it? I could have asked these questions. I didn't. I just went home. A few days later, I got the call. I was told I was okay to bring Bandit home. So I went and got her. And I'm a warrior and I'm a planner. So I watched all those Jackson Galaxy videos and stuff. And they all said that it takes a while for a cat to get used to a new home. So set up a room in your house that has food and toys and all kinds of stuff and just put her in there and close the door. And when she's ready to come out, she'll come out. And I mean, it took me a while to come out too. I get it. No shame. So I brought her home. I put her in the middle of the room. I opened the door of the carrier and I walked out, shut the door, figured I'd check on her in a couple hours. She was in there for maybe 15 minutes. And then I started to hear, ah, followed up by the other noise my cat likes to make. Because my cat does not know or care what a apartment security deposit is. I do know and care. I immediately went and opened the door. She ran out, swiped at my leg, jumped on the couch, started chewing on the cushions. And that interaction pretty much set the tone of our lives together ever since. I didn't have a clear idea of what having a cat would be like because everyone I knew who loved cats, when I said I love dogs, were like, oh, cats are better. They're clean and sweet and they're just quiet and nice and they hang out. And that is so not true. It's so not true. Like, my cat is a maniac. Living with my cat is like living with a one-man band that is constantly trying to mug you. Like, follows me around, swiping at me, trying to get treats from me. Her favorite hobbies are to jump in my head when I'm asleep, jump on my head when I'm awake, and to post up in the window, beating on it and screaming at everything that walks by so I know it's there. Like, it's like living with the maddened Southern heroine from a Tennessee Williams play, just constantly like, that joke kills with English majors, you guys. But I gotta say, you know, I've not known a moment of peace since this cat came into my life, and that's worked out great for me. I love it because when I adopted her, I was in a bad spot. I just gotten divorced. I was kind of bummed out, and I needed to be jogged out of my sadness, you know? And after I got my cat, I couldn't lay on the couch and be sad all day because I had to get up and feed her or she'd scream at me. I couldn't, I couldn't just wander off and be bummed out because she needed me there. And, you know, she's kind of a little weirdo and she's kind of mean and she's kind of a little dick, but so am I. So we get along great. Now, you may be wondering what the point of that story was, which is fair. The point is my cat rules. I love my cat. I talk about her endlessly all the time. I'm the most annoying cat dad in the world. I've just completely come around on cats. She's a little bonkers maniac, but she's my middle maniac and I love her to death. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're super depressed and don't know what to do with yourself, I strongly recommend getting a very poorly behaved little asshole of a cat because it worked out great. Thank you all so much and happy birthday, Angela.
Yay, Harmony. Do you have a sticker on the back of your car by a chance? No.
I do not. I'm not that bad.
Figured I'd ask. All right. So, our great job, Harmony. That really was a really good story. Thank you. All right, so our next performer hails from Southern Illinois. Notice I did not pronounce the S. Yes. And is a storyteller as well as an improviser, Ian Koller. Yay.
Hi. So with Angela's birthday, happy birthday, Angela. Here's my thing. So there are many varieties of intimacy. There's, of course, the intimacy between lovers, the closeness of a parent and child, the relationship of a therapist with her patient, or if you're like me, the accidental intimacy between strangers. For my 40th birthday, I decided to go to Ireland. I had never traveled abroad before, so it seemed like a safe bet. Plus, it's part of my heritage. I invited my partner, Levi, to come along, and he was happy and excited for me, but ultimately Levi declined because of sharks. Something about flying over the ocean. I don't know. You do the math. So I invited my good friend Katie to come along. Katie and I make great travel companions because neither of us requires a whole lot of structure to our trips. We each select a few key destinations, and if we make it to them, great. And if not, that's okay too. We've all traveled with that person who must plot and plan every moment of every day because we're going to have so much fun. It's not fun for everyone, Janet. I need a vacation that's relaxing. So Katie and I prefer a different approach. We each love to fly by the seat of our pants and see where life takes us. So we flew into Dublin and rented a car with the idea that we were going to drive all around the country and stay at a different Airbnb each night of the week. The Emerald Isle is about the size of the state of Indiana, so it's totally doable. We'd stay with the locals, get a taste for the local fare, and just have the best time. The only other part of our trip that was structured was to go on a tour through the Gap of Dunlow. The Gap of Dunlow sits at the base of two big, beautiful mountains in the southwest region of the country, outside a small town called Killarney. Katie and I stayed with accommodations provided by Olive, a bright, bubbly 50-something who was excited for her niece's christening that week. The following morning, after Katie and I bid Olive adieu, we headed out to the countryside to meet up with our tour guide. Now, if I'm being completely honest here, the tourism industry in Ireland leaves a lot to be desired because it mirrors that of the United States. A few cute, quaint cottages with the aroma of hot waffle cones wafting through the air, fresh fudge for sale, or maybe try your hand at some candle dipping. I wasn't impressed, mostly because I've seen it all before, but it was the tour I was excited for. Our tour guide was a heavyset older man with thin wisps of hair and a stereotypical large bulbous blood vesseled nose. He was standing next to a horse with a small cart attached to it. We waited around for a while, and then finally another couple arrived, fellow tourists. And then the 5 of us piled onto the back of this tiny horse-drawn cart. Chivalry is not dead in Ireland. Ladies first. So the women hoisted themselves up the back of the cart and scooched along to be seated nearest the horse. And then the men, myself included, climbed onto the back. I'd later learned that these carts are called jaunting cars. And according to an entry on Wikipedia, tourists have actually died on these things. Hindsight is always 20/20, but don't fear, nothing crazy like that happened. It was curious, though, why the men were seated at the back. These things flip so frequently that we offered an insurance policy so we could break the fall of the ladies. So then we were off through the green pastures and rolling hills that gave way to larger hills that were dotted with sheep of every pastel hue. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, the reason why the sheep were so brightly colored was because the farmers had painted them so they could tell their flock apart from the rest of the sheep, I think. You know, honestly, I wasn't paying much attention on the tour or what was happening outside the cart, really. My focus was what was happening inside the cart. You see, we were positioned on the hips of the horse in this rickety old thing. And so every step the horse took, the entire cart shimmied. And with every shimmy came the realization of the friction between my knees and the knees of the man seated across from me. When I looked down, I realized our legs were interwoven like the cards of a deck being shuffled by a blackjack dealer. My leg, his leg, my leg, his leg. It was weird. It was awkward. And yet it was strangely intimate. And yet neither of us spoke a word of it or drew any attention to it. In fact, I'm not even sure we spoke the same language. But when it comes to intimacy, the language is universal. So certainly he was just as taken aback as I was. Because for the next 90 minutes of this part of the trip, our knees bumping and grinding with every clip-clop of that horse, we didn't say a word. I may have been disappointed my partner didn't come along to help me celebrate my 40th, but that fact didn't prevent me from rubbing leg with another man accidentally. Thank you.
Yay! Awesome. Great story, yeah. Did you get their number at least?
No, and there's one slight fact that I was leaving out. I did it for humor's sake. That man was like 75.
Hey, come on, you know, them older ones got experience now.
Well, they don't know Gaelic for nothing.
Oh.
Touche, sir. Touche. All right. All right, y'all. So the next performer coming up is a comic heli from South Jersey, and they were driven into the loving arms of comedy 2 years ago by his ex-wife Will Gardiner.
Woo!
So first, while I was writing my set list, my daughter wanted to write some jokes as well. So she drew a pooping dog for you all. That's my opener. Anyways, if you can't tell by my sweet background skills, I got picked on in high school. I remember this one day in gym class, this big hulk of a kid comes up to me and says, "Hey, John's better than you at basketball." John was blind. John was better than me at basketball. Also, I work at a high school, so that was last week. The best part of working at a high school, I would have to say, is all the anti-drug propaganda posters. They have this series that talks about all the lies about drugs. Like, they said weed wasn't a gateway drug. They lied. They said meth would help me get through finals. They lied. He said if I did crack with him, he'd love me forever. He lied. Now, I don't consider myself to be a crack enthusiast, so to speak. But I do believe that last poster is not fair to crack. It's not crack's fault that guy's a ghosting piece of shit. The poster should just read, "Don't go out with this guy. He's going to give you free crack, but then he's out of your life forever." Or conversely, "Hey, go out with this guy. He's going to give you free crack, and then he's out of your life forever." So, despite such egregious high school setbacks, I just came off the dating apps, which is nice. So those things are a headache. It's funny when I have to like come out as vegetarian. And then my match like very reluctantly comes out with the fact that they're not. Which would be fine, like, if it weren't for the stupid questions that followed. Like, so what do you eat? Makes me feel like I'm in a Men in Black. Like, find I'm a vegetarian and suddenly forget all other food exists. I'd much rather wipe a woman's mind with the flesh I do put my mouth on. Reality is, it doesn't bother me one way or another. Just, be who you are, love me for who I am, and don't have COVID. I'm a very selfish vegetarian. Like, kill anyone or anything you want, just not me and my kid. Doesn't mean I'm without standards, though. I do like when women have measurable intelligence, I believe they call it. I had this one match, her profile intrigued me, even though it was short and to the point. She said she was sunshine with a little bit of hurricane. So I asked her, "What's your ratio of sunshine to hurricane?" She said 40% sunshine, 60% hurricane. So that's a tax thought waiting to happen. For some reason, I kept talking anyway. If you look at my history, I do stupid things like that. And she was telling me about her kids. She said, "I've got a 4-year-old and an 11-month-old. So I said, "Oh, I've got a 4-year-old. To which she said, "Aw, same." So I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt where she realized that in there I was a vegetarian and she forgot everything that just happened. Sometimes you can't take people at the first glance though. Like I saw someone on Hinge and they have like these nice little prompts you can answer, and one's never have I ever, and this one chick, she said, never have I ever been to Miami, which I thought was like really dumb and bland at first, because if I had $1 for every city I've never been to, I could go to some of those cities. But she wasn't just saying she'd never been to Miami. She was also saying, never have I ever had my face bitten off. Never have I ever masturbated in blocked traffic. And never have I ever had my uncle judge preside over my cousin wedding. Thank God I've never actually met most of these people, though. There was one, though. Coming from someone who is in 2 severely abusive relationships, this one-off date scares me more than both of them. I went to her house to watch some movies. Right off the bat, she's missing about a third of the teeth I thought she had. And that wasn't the worst part. I didn't draw any attention to it. I figured, you know what? Maybe she lost them in a divorce or something. There's some bills and she had to give them back. So anyway, we watched a couple movies, went our separate ways. I see on Facebook a couple days later that she's out to lunch with her ex-husband, celebrating their anniversary. And that was not the weirdest part. Because, they stay friends for their daughter, apparently. Which under normal circumstances would be noble, but these were not normal circumstances. You see, I met their daughter. She was a box of ashes on her mother's dresser. And the ex-husband didn't even want any of the ashes, not even a sniff. I just hope they don't celebrate her birthday next, because you like those candles, the kid's gonna have some flashbacks. But if they do, I'll show up, get her a sandbox or something. All right, that's all I've got for tonight, guys. Thank you so much.
Seems like everybody's talked about their exes. The last girl I dated was before the quarantine, and she was kind of weird, but not the kind of weird like roll over, bite the pillow, and the safe word's orange. Not like that, y'all. Yeah. She was the kind of, the reason I say she was weird is because every 28 days I would be the good boyfriend and go get her tampons and chocolate. And every now and again she'd come home with a 5th of whiskey. And I'm like, hey Candy, what are we celebrating? She's like, it's not a Father's Day.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So we have our last performer of the night. So go ahead and start putting your hands together because you know who it is and you know why you're here. So go ahead and start clapping for her. Steven gets entrance music. All right, our headliner of the night is here celebrating 29 rotations around the sun. She is the brains and producer behind the monthly Instagram show Crafts and Laughs, and was a finalist in Columbus's Got Talent. Put your hands together, yell, scream for the birthday girl, Angela! Yay!
All right, thanks so much for having me, everybody. What a great entrance. Let's give it up for James one last time. He's been an awesome host, everyone. So you might have recognized that song that I came into, and as far as I can tell from who's in the audience, is there any Angela in the audience tonight? No? Okay, good. So the attention's all on me for the rest of the evening, just like I wanted. There are 3 reasons why you may know that song. First of all, your name is Angela, and you just want to know any song that has your name in it. Second, you're a fan of Motley Crue, and you're twice my age. Or the last reason is, like every good millennial, you've watched The Office and you saw the episode of Dwight and Angela's wedding where they played that song. So let's have a round of applause for all the Office fans in the audience tonight. It's interesting how we have so many pet people that were on my set list tonight. And I didn't realize that till tonight. It kind of reminded me about when I was out driving the other day. It's springtime. There's a lot of construction going around. I was stuck in traffic, so I kept myself entertained by making fun of other people and judging their bumper stickers. There's a car nearby that said "Cat Mom." Another car to the lane next to me said "Dog Grandma." It was probably James's mom. And then a car really merges in front of me, and the license plate says "Turtle Dad." And that really annoyed me. I said, I have to be better than all these people. So I took the next exit, went to the pet store, adopted 2 bearded dragons, got a license plate that says "Mother of Dragons."
I love it.
And that's my Game of Thrones joke. I have a significant birthday today. I'm not going to say my age because I don't know if you heard James said it, but I am as old as the song "Baby Got Back." I'm in the last year of my terrible 20s, but not quite 30 yet, so I get to lie about my age for the rest of my life, and I'm so excited. I realized with lying about my age, I wanted to rebrand myself to the world. My 20s have been filled with terrible jobs, heartache, loser boyfriends. But I realized what is important to me. Besides comedy and myself, I'm a very proud auntie. I have 3 beautiful nieces, a handsome little nephew, and I realized I'm gonna be a hot aunt. Now, what is a hot aunt? The hot aunt shows up to the Little League game with the good snacks. And by good snacks, that's junk food, bags of chips, the little Kool-Aid bottles, and I make all the baseball moms look bad. And if it's a good day, the coach will be a hot single dad I can flirt with.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times when people rebrand themselves, they like to compare themselves to a fictional character. And I'm thinking like, well, there aren't too many fictional aunts out there. But then it occurred to me, I want to be like Aunt May in the Spider-Man series. Not the one in the comics or the old movies where she's 80 years old and Tobey Maguire is a 40-year-old college student, high school student. Aunt May in the reboot with Tom Holland, where she's so hot that even Tony Stark is giving her a double look. I watched that and I said, that's what it is. I'm hot enough to and young enough to land an old millionaire one of these days who will fund my comedy tour.
Yeah.
I did go on some bad dates in my 20s. And there was this one time when somebody wanted to set me up on a blind date. I was very involved in my church at the time, and this woman I was friends with comes up with and says, Angela, there's this guy you need to go on a date with. And I said, why? And she said, you're both single and you go to church. Okay, Janet, that's a great reason to go on a date. It's that same woman in the Ian story. I went on this blind date with zero expectations. We met up for coffee, and for the sake of the story, this guy's name is Hank because I can't remember his name. I show up, shake his hand, and I said, hello, Hank, my name is Angela. I'm single and I go to church. And we're sitting there having a conversation, and he opens his mouth and he's like, wants to get like into a debate with me and says, I want to tell you what's really unethical. Diamonds. Diamonds are unethical and they are a scam of the marketing company. Diamonds make men spend money that they don't need to on their woman. Diamonds don't show how much a man loves someone. If I ever get engaged, I'm gonna get a clutter ring with the woman's birthstone on it. And I'm just here like, oh my gosh, how do I get out of this day? Like, this is terrible. And it hit me. Birthstones, April. My birthday's in April. And I said, Hank, you might want to rethink that one. He said, why? I said, for example, my birthday is in April and the birthstone is a diamond. He didn't get a second date. There was a dark time in my life where I was in a relationship for 3 years. And this guy lived with his mother and they owned a mansion and he lived in the basement and slept on a futon. I thought I was in love. It was just stupidity. You know, when I met the potential mother-in-law the first time, she's a doctor. She heard her son complain about me and she made a diagnosis. She comes up to me and says, Angela, my son has told me that you're really tired and you're really grouchy. And I looked at her in the eye and I said, it's because your son is a pain in my butt. She said, your iron levels are low, so take these iron supplements. And she hands me a little plastic bag, nothing marked on it, but the vitamins were this big. I went home and Google imaged them and they were not not iron supplements. They were prenatal vitamins. This woman was grandbaby trapping me. Long story short, we broke up. When he broke up with me, he said in the most romantic way, Angela, we're too different because you like to do things. Joke's on him because he's missing out on all of this hotness right now. Where are you, futon boy? Still living in your mom's basement? They say that stories and heroines and heroes that you admired as a kid shape you as an adult. I have been a lifelong Lord of the Rings fan. This is the warning for Lord of the Rings fans in the audience. Do not come at me for being inaccurate right now. This breakup recovery comes from this story. There's this stereotype that when women get dumped, they wear sweatpants, gain 100 pounds, and cry into cartons of ice cream. In Lord of the Rings, there's this character named Eowyn. She falls for Aragorn, who's the future king of Gondor. And he kind of leads her on a little bit to the point that her dad is like, yeah, the future king of Gondor is going to be my son-in-law. I'm okay with this one. I wasn't okay with this when I reread and rewatched the movies. And you know, he drops a bomb on her at one point. Aragorn goes up to her and says, yeah, whatever. There's this elf princess I'm in love with and I'm marrying. So like, you know, I'm not into you. You know what she does? She says, all men are terrible. I'm going to take my rage out on all these men I hate, puts on a suit of armor, and then has the famous saying, I am no man at the Witch King, and slays him. All these stupid guys had the Battle of Helm's Deep going on for days, and she defeated him in one strike. And I remember saying that, and I'm like, that's how you get over a breakup, girl.
Yeah.
So I pulled Eowyn, and I showed up at a very public event in a slinky red dress, not this one, just to piss off my ex. Because if he's not going to appreciate this body, other men will. And when I showed up at this event, people said, dang, Angela, what happened to you? I'm like, I just got dumped and I'm free.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen what happens to a man when he goes through a breakup? They start dressing like a grandpa. It all starts when they cry and go back to their parents' house and mommy makes them home-cooked meals because that girl was so mean to him. And he realizes he needs to get a new job. So he trudges to his dad's closet and borrows a suit jacket because he realizes he doesn't own one of his own. It's a slippery slope from there. Goes back to dad's closet, button-down shirt, pair of pants, belt because he's skinnier than his dad, and it's all topped off at the end when he reaches the back of dad's closet and finds the Panama hat that goes on top. Boom, grandpa outfit. Subconsciously, men think, they go to their dad's closet and say, oh, my dad got my mom at one point, so I'm just gonna start dressing like him. Moving on. People come up to me and say, Angela, you are so attractive and you're so smart and talented. How are you still single? And I look at them and I think, well, that's really rude. And that's when I say, well, there was a time in my life where I was in a relationship. I was very much in love and I was happy. He put me on a pedestal like the goddess I am, but it didn't work out because he died. And this, my friends, is when it's going to get really dark, and it is your trigger warning. I performed some jokes about this subject over the weekend, and some girl messaged me and said, had the audacity to say, Angela, is your partner really dead? Golly, I didn't know there was a difference between dead and really dead. He's been dead for over a year, so I'm going to have to go with really dead. Here's how it all happened. I was a part of an interactive murder mystery show, and one day this tall, redheaded guy who dressed like a grandpa walked in. We started talking, found out we were both from New York, and then he asked me for my number within 10 minutes from meeting me. I have no idea what that was about, but we met up eventually for coffee. He was late to our first date. And he showed up and said, oh, Angela, I'm so sorry that I'm late. I had $6.66 worth of Taco Bell last night. My butt feels like Sauron's eye. When you're on a date with another comedian, it's confusing because you don't know if they're being honest or testing a joke on you. So I didn't know what to say. So I was okay, do we need to reschedule? I just said, nah. I looked through your Instagram and I wrote a Lord of the Rings joke just for you because I could tell you were a fan. And I'm like, that was the sweetest thing a man has ever done for me. Eventually we chatted, went inside the store, and I was buying some loose leaf tea, and he's like, ooh, tea, I love tea. And I'm like, I'm not getting any for you. This is for my mom and my grandma because Mother's Day is coming up. And he goes, oh, Mother's Day, that's a thing. I don't need to worry about that because my mom's dead. The poor cashier turns white as a ghost and freaks out, and I just look at him in awe. This is the man of my dreams. I don't have to get poison my prenatal vitamins. Because I had to get to work after this date, and he was parked next to me, and the license plate on his car said Turtle Dad. So moving forward, this is Turtle Dad. We had a great time together. We produced comedy shows, had festivals, podcast. I co-produced 2 of his albums, and eventually over time he took a job and moved to New York City, and I assumed when he moved that he would forget all about me because he was so incredibly talented. Boy, was I wrong. We talked every day. We made plans. We survived a show that people tried to cancel for us, and after that show I just remember him coming up to me and hugging me so hard saying, Angela, we did it. I realized one day that I was in love with Turtle Dad. I was standing in my kitchen and I was like, oh, wow, I'm in love with this guy. I was out on a hot bachelorette night with Eva, who was our opener, and I was complaining about my guy issues. And she just randomly said to me, just marry Turtle Dad and have a bunch of redheaded kids together. And I was like, oh no, gross. Ultimately, what happened was we planned a tour together. We had a business we were going to do together. and COVID ruined everything. I called him on his birthday. And we talked and told jokes and talked about how much we missed each other. And that we would plan things when things got better. And I realized that I didn't know when that was going to be. The last thing he ever said to me was, I love you so much, and I want to take care of you. The next day, I received an alarming message from a mutual friend that just said, are you okay? Have you heard from Turtle Dad? And I said, I just talked to him yesterday. Told me that she saw a Facebook post stating that he wasn't with us anymore. And the post was made by one of his bullies to announce to the whole world that he chose to take his life. I blacked out, and for 72 hours, I sobbed hysterically. I was on the floor. I couldn't get off. I didn't know how I was going to get through this. 2 months later, I had to go to my friend's wedding and act like I was happy for her. It was a stupid thing. One of the moms there came up to me and gave me this intimate hug that was as intimate as when Voldemort hugged Draco Malfoy. And she said, Angela, I'm so sorry for your loss, but you look really good. Have you lost weight recently? Nice to know I'm still hot, Susan. Maybe I could practice that more often. I then went off to the bathroom at one point because I couldn't handle it. And I started sobbing uncontrollably. A friend of mine went to check in on me and she said, Angela, are you okay? And I just said, it's not fair. Why did these other girls' boyfriends get to stay alive for them? It was the lowest moment of my life. I thought comedy was over. And this is how I'm going to wrap it up. It wasn't, because one day I came across an ad on Instagram for an open mic on Christmas Day, run by none other by James. How dare you want people to be happy, James? Remember, I was going on this Zoom mic and I had this like vomity feeling in my throat, like I'm going to bomb. And if I bomb, I can just leave the Zoom room and everyone will forget me. Wasn't the case. I crushed it after 8 months of not doing comedy. And when I finished, I got off and I ran to my kitchen and I just said out loud, I did it, Turtle Dad. I performed again. And deep in my heart, I heard, yeah, you did. I've been performing jokes about Turtle Dad and his legacy and goofy things that he did. And every time I tell it, people light up. They say, I want to hear more about Turtle Dad. And it warms my heart so much because I know that's how his legacy is going to be continued. Because in his death, how I continue to joke about him and share his story will shed light that he did to everybody, like he did in my life and everybody else's. I'm going to end on this note. It's about Lord of the Rings. I was watching the movie, and in the end of Return of the King, Frodo, who's our hero, chooses to go off to the west, which is like Hobbit retirement. Says goodbye to all of his friends. And at the end, he goes to Sam, who's his best friend. And he hands him a book and says, Sam, the rest is for you to finish. And I realized I have this journal that's filled with all of our plans we had together. Our tour, our shows, our albums. And he left that for me. And I know that I can continue to carry on what he set out to do. He is not with us anymore. But every joke, every performance, every show I do is all in his memory. And that's what I wanted to share with you tonight, because even though he had a tragic end, everybody will still remember him through my performance. And here's how I'm going to end it tonight. If you have a drink, bring it. I would like to make a toast. This is to those that we love so much, but could not be here tonight. For all our wonderful performers who came and celebrated with us and made you laugh. for my birthday.
Yeah.
For all April babies, for that matter. And for our wonderful audience who came and cheered us on tonight. This drink is for you. Keep those eggs close, everybody. And thank you for coming and celebrating with me.
Oh, did you want me to take back over, or are you good?
Oh, I got to say that and give it back to James Mack for the evening, everybody.
I was like, I could do another shot. We're good. As a matter of fact, you know, for such a great show, and you know, Angela was the one who booked the show. I just kind of helped mentor her for this. I'm sorry I was the first open mic that you went back to. I blame myself now.
Great.
So one more time, this is her birthday, and for the show, put your drinks up in the air.
Woo!
Salute.
Yeah.
And yes, that is real Jameson. I drink it straight. So
Like a
we're
real
good.
Irishman.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, y'all. This show has been truly amazing. We've had a great combination of artists, whether it's storytellers, whether it's comics, whether it's a mix of those. So please go ahead. Let's give another round of applause for everybody that you've seen tonight. For Eva Starnes, for Mike Hoff, for Greyson Clemens, Harmony Cox, Ian Koller, Will Gardiner, and of course Angela. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for coming out. I hope you had a good time. And hopefully you got something out of tonight besides just the jokes. Hopefully we pass something else on to you. So, all right.
Thanks for coming, everyone, and thanks for supporting Lost again. You all mean so much to me, everybody who performed, and that's all I want to say. Thank you so much for celebrating with me.
Yay.
Woo!
Remember to tip your waiter and waitresses and bartenders. So. Also, performers, if you want to put where people can follow you in the chat. I know some of you did, but it might remind them if you want to do that again.
I think most people know